Can't be asking me that question, man. Come on, man. We can't see that's like the thing. Like, if we want to change, the narrative, change the franchise, if we want to like help, we gotta speak life. You can't. Those type of things is like separate us. Like a lot of the players like get these type of questions, and then we want to be working with y'all. We want to be proactive.
Shedeur Sanders just put a reporter in his place, and the internet can't stop talking about it. After another tough loss, one journalist tried to pit the rookie QB against his coaches with a loaded question about fourth down play calling. But instead of taking the bait, Shedeur delivered a masterclass in leadership that has everyone asking, is this the mentality that separates franchise QBs from the rest? What he said next didn't just shut down the question, it exposed exactly what's been wrong with how we talk about struggling teams. And honestly, Kevin Stefanski and the Browns front office might be wishing they handled this moment differently, because Shedeur just showed a level of maturity that most veterans don't have. But here's the twist nobody's talking about. Look, we need to talk about what actually went down in that press conference, because the headlines aren't telling you the full story. Everyone's focused on the loss, the stats, the fourth down decision that didn't work out. But what happened in that media room? That's the real story. That's what separates the noise from the truth. So here's what happened. Browns lose another close game to the Bills. Tough one. Defense couldn't get stops when it mattered. Offense showed flashes but couldn't finish. Standard rookie struggles, right? But then comes the post-game presser, and one reporter decides to ask Shedeur about that controversial 4th and 2 decision late in the game. Now, on the surface, it sounds like a normal football question. What was going through your mind? Should you guys have punted? But here's the thing, and this is where it gets interesting. The way the question was framed, it was clearly trying to get Shedeur to throw his coaches under the bus. Like, come on, we've all seen this game before. Reporter asks loaded question, player gives frustrated answer, media runs with tension in the locker room headlines for the next 3 days. It's the same cycle that destroys teams from the inside. But Shedeur, man, he saw it coming from a mile away.
Like, if we want to change, the narrative, change the franchise, if we want to like help, we gotta speak life. You can't. Those type of things is like separate us. Like a lot of the players like get these type of questions, and then we want to be working with y'all. We want to be proactive, but like when you ask questions or when questions are asked to us players, and it's like you pinning stuff against each other, it's like, come on now, you know? It's like a thing in the locker room.
You could see it in his face, that moment of like, really, we're doing this? And then he just goes off, not in an angry way, but in a way that makes you realize this kid gets it. He understands the game within the game, the politics, the media circus, all of it. He literally stops the reporter mid-question and says, I know you can't be asking me that question, man. Come on, man. And then he breaks down exactly why that type of question is toxic. He talks about how if they want to change the narrative, change the franchise, help the team grow, they have to speak life into the situation. They can't be asking questions designed to separate players from coaches, players from each other. And here's what got me. He says a lot of the players get these types of questions, and then we want to be working with y'all. We want to be proactive. But when you ask questions that pin stuff against each other, it's like, come on now. Bro, that's not a rookie talking. That's a leader. That's someone who understands that words have power, that narratives shape reality, and that protecting the locker room culture is more important than getting a viral soundbite. Now, let me be real with you for a second. Was that fourth down call the right decision? Honestly, probably not. Hindsight's 20/20, but when you're down late in the game and your defense has been getting shredded, maybe you take the points, pin them deep and trust your defense one more time. Maybe. But here's what people miss. That decision isn't on Shedeur. That's a coaching call. That's Stefanski and the offensive staff making a calculated risk. And Shedeur knows that. He knows that if he even hints at disagreeing with the call, the media runs with it. Rookie QB questions coaching staff. Shedeur Sanders doesn't trust Kevin Stefanski. Locker room divided after another loss. You see how fast that spirals? One quote, one out-of-context answer, and suddenly you've got a media-manufactured controversy that distracts from the real work of building a winning team. but Shedeur refused to play that game. And honestly, that might be the most impressive thing he's done all season.
I would say each step been the most helpful for me, because a lot of different perspectives, it's a lot of different viewpoints and different aspects of life, and I feel like everything, you gotta go through, every moment you gotta live through, and each of those are building blocks to help you throughout whatever situation you're in, and help you be thankful also.
Sure. What happened with the finger, and what was that whole episode like for you?
I don't know. You can look online and see what my finger looked like if you want. I'm sure they got the details on there.
Let's talk about the actual game for a minute, because context matters here. The Browns started hot. Shedeur was in rhythm early, hitting checkdowns, playing on time, making the easy throws. He was doing exactly what the coaching staff has been begging him to do for weeks. Take what the defense gives you, don't force it, let the game come to you. And it was working. First quarter, they're moving the ball, they're getting completions, the offense looks functional for the first time in weeks. Shedeur even talks about this in the presser. He mentions how he's been learning to slow down, to not try to win the game on every play, to just take the checkdowns and let the offense grind out drives. That's growth, man. That's a rookie QB understanding that the NFL is about consistency, not heroics. You don't need to throw for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns every game. You need to manage the game, avoid turnovers, and let your playmakers make plays. But here's where it gets tricky. Second half rolls around and the Bills start adjusting. They're bringing exotic pressures, they're doubling receivers, they're disguising coverages, and Shedeur starts holding the ball a little longer. The sacks start piling up, the rhythm disappears. Now the casual fan sees this and goes, "Oh, Shedeur's holding the ball too long. He's not getting rid of it fast enough." And sure, on the surface, that's what it looks like, but Shedeur breaks down one specific play in the presser, and it's fascinating. He's talking about this Tampa 2 coverage the Bills ran late in the game. He sees the vertical route inside, sees the dagger route developing, and he's thinking he's got the dagger wide open. Easy completion, move the chains. But then, and this is the chess match of NFL football, the Mike linebacker reads it, peels off, and sits right where the dagger's breaking. Suddenly, what looked like an easy throw is a potential pick six. And Shedeur is explaining this, giving all the technical details, and he ends it with, "That's good coaching. You gotta tip your cap to them." Are you starting to see the pattern here? Even when he's explaining why a play didn't work, he's crediting the opponent. He's breaking down the X's and O's. He's showing that he understands the why behind every decision. He's not making excuses. He's not blaming anyone. He's just analyzing the game like a true student of football. But let's get to the real emotional gut punch of this game. Quanshan going down with an injury. Man, you could hear it in Shedeur's voice when he talked about it. He mentions how he and Quanshan were in a room together until 11:30 the night before, just talking about life, building that bond with the rookie class, trying to keep everyone focused and on track. And then the next day, Shedeur throws him a slant route and Quanshan goes down. You can hear the guilt in his voice. I feel bad because I did it, you know? He's taking responsibility for a throw that wasn't even a bad decision. It was just football. Sometimes guys get hurt. It's the brutal reality of the game. But that's who Shedeur is. He cares about his teammates. He feels the weight of every decision, every throw, every moment. And when a reporter tries to get him to criticize his coaches or create division, he shuts it down immediately because he knows that's not what leaders do. Now, here's where the narrative gets interesting, because the internet is split on this moment. You've got one side saying, Shedeur is being too sensitive. It's a fair question. Reporters have a job to do. And then you've got the other side saying, finally, a player with the courage to call out toxic media behavior. And honestly, both sides are missing the point. This isn't about whether the question was fair or not. This is about Shedeur Sanders understanding something that most rookies don't figure out until year 3 or 4. Your words create your reality. The way you talk about your team, your coaches, your situation, that shapes how everyone perceives it. If you constantly complain, make excuses, point fingers, that becomes your brand. That becomes your legacy.
I did everything, to come back because I didn't want to put like Dylan in a bad situation, like since when I was a 2. And like it's tough. It's tough to play that role because you don't get reps, you don't get anything. And I was talking to him. I said, bro, my bad, bro, for putting you in that situation, because it's not ideal, and I want, him to be prepared whenever he was out there, So that's really how all that went.
Did it bug you in the second half at all with the bandage on it?
At that point, like I just had to accept fate. I just accepted, like, okay, this what it is. I can't think about it. I can't.
But if you take ownership, protect your teammates, stay positive, even in losses, that's how you build a culture. That's how you earn respect in the locker room. That's how you become a franchise quarterback. And let's be real for a second, because I know some of y'all are thinking it. Shedeur's dealing with more media scrutiny than probably any rookie QB in recent memory. Why? Because of who his dad is, because of the prime time connection, because of the hype, the expectations, the 24/7 coverage of everything he does. Every throw gets analyzed, every loss gets magnified, every press conference gets dissected, and through all of it, he's maintained this incredible level of composure and maturity that honestly makes you wonder, how much of this did Deion teach him? Because this isn't just natural talent, this is years of coaching, mentorship, and understanding how to navigate the spotlight. Think about it. Deion dealt with this same media circus his entire career. He knew how to control narratives, how to protect his brand, how to turn criticism into motivation, and it's clear he's passed that knowledge down to his son. But here's the twist that nobody's talking about, and this is what makes this whole situation so fascinating. Shedeur's response might have actually made things worse for Kevin Stefanski. Stay with me here. Because on one hand, Shedeur's defending his coaches, right? He's refusing to criticize the fourth down call. He's taking ownership of his mistakes. He's being the ultimate team player. That should be great for Stefanski and the coaching staff. But on the other hand, Shedeur's showing a level of leadership and maturity that makes you question why the team isn't winning more games. Like, if your rookie QB has this much emotional intelligence, this much understanding of culture and team dynamics, this much poise under pressure, why is the team still struggling? And that's the uncomfortable truth that Browns fans don't want to admit. Maybe the problem isn't the players. Maybe it's the coaching. Maybe it's the play calling. Maybe it's the inability to close out games, to make adjustments, to put players in positions to succeed. Shedeur's doing everything right. He's taking the checkdowns, he's playing in rhythm, he's protecting his teammates, he's staying positive, but they're still losing. And at some point, that falls on the coaching staff. Now, I'm not saying Stefanski needs to be fired tomorrow, but I am saying this. When your rookie quarterback is more mature than your veteran coaches, when he's the one protecting the culture and controlling narratives while the staff is making questionable fourth down calls and struggling with game management, that's a problem. And here's what makes it even more complicated. Shedeur can't say any of this publicly. He can't criticize his coaches without becoming a distraction. He can't question play calling without losing the locker room. So he's stuck in this position where he has to defend decisions he might not agree with, all while trying to develop as a player and lead a struggling team. That's the real story here. Not the fourth down call, not the reporter's question, but the impossible position Shedeur Sanders is in and the incredible grace with which he's handling it. Look at how he talks about learning and growth throughout that entire press conference. He mentions building blocks like 5 times. He talks about how every moment, every mistake, every struggle is teaching him something. He says, if you're gonna get me now, because I know in the future all these are building blocks. These are all lessons that I'm definitely putting in my bag. That's not someone making excuses. That's someone with a growth mindset. That's someone who understands that rookie seasons are supposed to be hard, that losses are supposed to hurt, that the only way to get better is to learn from every single rep. And then he drops this gem. If you're in a world of pleasing people, you'll never be happy. Man, that hit different, because he's right. The moment you start living for external validation, the moment you start making decisions based on what critics will say, you've already lost. You have to have internal confidence, internal motivation, internal standards that aren't dependent on public opinion.
If you're in a world of pleasing people, you'll never be happy, so I'm thankful that I was able to prove to myself, that I'm able to play on time, I'm able to step up in the pocket, like, I'm able to do that. Like, you got to speak life into yourself, because if you look external for that, it's not going to happen, So, like, you just can't live in a world of...
One sack, and they're out of field goal range. One bad decision, and they're punting. That's not sustainable. That's not how you develop a franchise quarterback. You need to create an environment where he can make mistakes and learn from them without it costing you the game every single time. And maybe that's the real instant regret for Kevin Stefanski. Not the fourth down call, not the loss, but realizing that he has a special player at quarterback, someone with the talent, the intelligence, the leadership, the maturity to be elite, and the organization isn't doing enough to maximize that potential. Because here's the truth that Browns fans need to hear. Shedeur Sanders isn't the problem. He might actually be the solution, but only if they build around him properly. Only if they give him the tools to succeed. Only if they stop expecting him to carry a flawed roster on his back while he's still learning the position at the NFL level. The fact that he's handling all of this with such grace, such maturity, such professionalism, that should give Browns fans hope. Because franchise quarterbacks aren't just about arm talent and athleticism. They're about leadership, resilience, and the ability to stay positive when everything around you is falling apart. Shedeur has all of that. Now it's on the organization to catch up. So here's my question for you. Was Shedeur right to call out that reporter, or should he have just answered the question and moved on? And more importantly, do you think Kevin Stefanski regrets how this season is going, knowing he has a QB with this much potential who's already showing franchise-level leadership? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about it, because this story is way bigger than one press conference moment. This is about the future of a franchise and whether they're smart enough to recognize what they have before it's too late. If you made it this far, you're real ones. Hit that subscribe button because we're covering every twist and turn of Shedeur's rookie season. And trust me, there's way more drama coming. See you in the next one.